Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family, and we're delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. We certainly would love to hear from you, so send an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Well, before I announce who our guest is, I did need to announce that today is Thursday, the first day after Ash Wednesday in Lent. And it's Jim Pinto's birthday.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
And so we had to have cake.
Got a decadent cake for Lent.
Yeah, so I just wanted you all to know that today is Jim's 68th birthday.
It is.
And I, as his wife, am extremely grateful that he is alive, because you know he had that heart attack, and that could have taken him out.
8 years ago,
By God's grace and mercy, you are here, and I'm glad.
Well, I give thanks to my mother and my father, now deceased and home with the Lord, for being conceived in their love and the sanctity of marriage. I often say to the Lord, Lord, in case I forget or something happens to my mind, I want you to know I've had a great life. Thank you for all you've done in my life, and my wife, children, grandchildren. I have a great life.
Yes.
And what I do now, in all the ministry that we do with EWTN and all this stuff, if I don't love you, if I don't love one person, I'm in danger of hell. You can go out to millions of people, you could do whatever. If I don't go to my grave loving one person, that's a real problem to me.
Well, I want to tell our EWTN family, he loves me.
I do
and he
love
loves
you.
me well. And I'm very spoiled, and I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that it's his birthday, and so the staff is going to get to enjoy this beautiful cake.
Yeah.
Well, now that the festivities are out of the way, we're going to have a great guest again, Dr. George Delgado. He is the president of the Steno Institute. He is the founder of the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. You need to know what that is. Go to this great website. It's called the stenoinstitute.org, and you're going to learn about his great work, how it was inspired by the Holy Spirit, and how God is using his intellect, his ability, all of his years of training to do a great and a mighty good thing in the kingdom of life.
People walking the face of the earth who wouldn't be here except
Yes.
for abortion pill reversal, and the number is growing of saves. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Be encouraged. The gospel of life, marriage, and the family will prevail. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest again is Dr. George Delgado. He is the president of the Steno Institute. Very important, he is the founder of the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. Did you even know such a thing existed? Please go to the website stenoinstitute.org. Well, Dr. Delgado, we were having a great conversation yesterday informing the world about the abortion pill reversal, about those drugs, progesterone, with an easy, simple thing to intercept that first drug and to sustain that life within her pregnancy, make that vital. But what our family doesn't know is on the market and in any drugstore, Walmart, you can get a drug, it's called Plan B. It's also marketed as the morning after pill. And there's a lot of confusion about the morning after pill, Plan B, and RU486. So please tell us the difference.
You often hear abortion pill, morning after pill, right? So what is the difference? What's the protocol in each? And just share that with us.
I'm good you brought that up because even some medical professionals have told me that they are confused about it. So it's good to clear that up. The Plan B or morning after pill is designed to be taken with a contraceptive intent. It's taken by a woman after she's had intercourse, when she is not pregnant, or if she is pregnant, she doesn't know she's pregnant. It's an attempt to stop a pregnancy. Now, it's a whole other discussion, but it turns out that these, quote, morning after pills probably often have abortifacient effects. Right. But that's a whole other story. They are usually high-dose progestins, which are artificial progesterones, with the exception of one called ulipristal, also known as Ella. And Ella is actually very similar to RU46 or mifepristone. It's a progesterone receptor blocker. And because of that way that it works, it's actually approved to be taken up to 5 days after intercourse by a woman. So we know that certainly that one is causing some abortions. So that's the morning after pill. Contraceptive intent, mother doesn't know she's pregnant or is not pregnant, while the abortion pill is a woman who knows she's pregnant and is taking it with the intent to end her pregnancy, to kill her preborn baby, and it's approved up to 10 weeks of pregnancy. So you can see they're very, very different.
But it's being marketed out there, and clients buy it, young women buy it, sometimes boyfriends buy it for their girlfriends, just to say, we're gonna have sex, and we're not gonna use anything or any kind of contraceptive, and so you have to, you're gonna use this after we have our night together within 72 hours, right? There's a required time frame. But there's also that if she is ovulating, then it says it on the packaging. If you are ovulating, then this could be ineffective. But nobody's reading the fine print, and clients are popping it like it's an aspirin.
That's right. And of course, they think it's going to work 100% of the time. So when they realize later they're pregnant, of course, they want to do the next thing. And then that next thing is abortion, usually taking the abortion pill.
Right.
Well, you laid out so clearly, you may have to do it again, how the abortion pill reversal is working to undo the chemicals that are being used to starve, to kill that baby within up to 10 weeks, and then another pill given to bring forth contractions and to expel this baby. Again, just quickly, what are the dangers regarding this to the child and to the mother? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And do you see this lessening the dangers, the terrible outcomes for the mom? We know what the outcome is for the baby. So what's the growing downside of this post-Dobbs as well? This seems to really be pushed. What's the percentage now of chemical abortions? How has that changed over the last several years?
So we've seen a big growth in the medical abortion market, if you will, so that these days it's estimated that 60, maybe up to 65% of all abortions in the U.S. are medical abortions, chemical abortions with mifepristone RU46. And we know where that trend is heading because if we look at a country like Scotland, 75% to 80% of all abortions are medical abortions there. So the trend is getting away from the surgical abortions, going to the medical abortions. And a wonderful, very well done study out of Finland showed that the medical abortion carries 4 times the risk to the mother compared to surgical abortions. So it's not safer. And of course, they're passing their babies in their own bathrooms, forlorn, with no one around them. So the psychological impact, I think, might be much worse. At least in the abortion center, there's someone there to hold her hand. You know, you talked about the post-Dobbs with the striking down of Roe v. Wade. Well, that's led to just a polarization in our country where we have some pro-life states and some very pro-abortion states. Now, going along with that sort of parallel has been this deregulation of medical abortion by the Biden administration, starting in the COVID pandemic, under the auspices of the pandemic. But though that deregulation was made permanent, so that before the women had to take the mifepristone under the supervision of a physician or a nurse practitioner in a medical facility. Now they can take it at home. Now they can get it through telehealth medicine, mail order, and you can see that it's going to be prescribed by regular doctors, not just at abortion clinics, picked up like a regular medicine. So this deregulation is going to lead to lots of problems We know that if women don't get that ultrasound, they may not know that they have a tubal pregnancy. And 1% to 2% of all pregnancies are tubal pregnancies. If a woman takes mifepristone and starts to bleed, she'll attribute that to the medical abortion, not even thinking that she might have a tubal pregnancy. If it ruptures, it could be catastrophic. She could die.
Well, and when a client gets an ultrasound, not all pregnancies are even viable, right? So it's not even where her body will spontaneously have a miscarriage. And so it's not that she even has to take this RU486 if she would just wait and slow down the train and see what God does in the process. And so it's really a matter of educating and lifting the veil from everyone's eyes, as if I'm going to take this pill, I'm going to solve a problem, and I'm going to hit the reset button and I'll be good to go. And that's just a lie from the pit of hell. And abortion is not women's health care, no matter how loud they scream it. It's just not, because you and I, we see the fallout on a daily basis from men and women who made a poor life choice in the past, thinking they were solving a problem. Now we have the ramifications of guilt and shame and self-hate, and maybe now we can't have future pregnancies, that it does affect that.
You're absolutely right. And what women and others need to know is that when they're in a tough situation, a crisis pregnancy, and things look very bleak, they may choose abortion as the way out, but it actually is not a solution. It just creates a multitude of other problems that just build on themselves. And so we're very excited that we can give women a second chance at choice. She can truly reverse her medical abortion if that's what she wants.
What is the success rate like, from, I don't know how many cases you've been involved with, but what are you seeing in terms of the success of reversing that process? And when does somebody need to get to you or somebody like you? How many hours into their, after having sex?
Taking mifepristone.
Yeah. So we're very, very excited that our success rates at reversing mifepristone, our large study shows with our best protocol, which is what we call our high-dose oral protocol of progesterone, is 68%. So very, very high success rate. And we've had success out 72 hours after taking the mifepristone RU486. But we think that the closer, the better. And Heartbeat International tells me from their statistics that they're keeping now with the network that they're running, that most of the women are getting started at or before 24 hours out. So we're very excited about that they're getting on the progesterone very, very quickly. And we think that that's going to make a big difference.
How are they hearing about this? Because this is so they're hearing a lot about RU486. Take the pill. I mean, it's so easy. And it's not easy at all. As you say, it's more dangerous than surgical abortion in numerous ways. They're not even taking RU486 in close union with a doctor, maybe locally. They're not getting an ultrasound, which is unfathomable to me. I mean, how many times we've said, what was the first day of your last period, and we calculate, and then we do an ultrasound and say, this baby looks further along. And the dangers of taking RU486 beyond 10 weeks. I mean, I know some of those cases where that's been done. It's horrendous. So how are they hearing about this, about abortion pill reversal? Because you're saying more people are getting to you earlier, so how's that happening, which is good news?
Yeah. Well, the typical woman, when she takes mifepristone RU486, has second thoughts almost right away. And that's because we are all hardwired, particularly women, are hardwired to protect and to nurture their young. So when you go against that hardwiring, you have strong feelings of dissonance. And what does she do, like many young women do? They go on their phone and they start doing a search.
Okay.
And they search, how do I stop my abortion? How do I reverse my abortion? And unfortunately, what comes up is abortionpillreversal.com. They go to that website, they read about it, and it's very interesting to know that the information there about the medical abortion itself is more detailed than they get when they go to the abortion center or when they go online for that. Yeah. It educates them about what medical abortion is and then about the possibilities of reversal. There's also a chat feature down in the right lower corner. They can start chatting with a trained operator there about it. And then if they want more information, they get connected with a hotline nurse who then takes more information, makes sure that she wants to do the reversal, and if she says yes, then she's then transferred over to a physician or a clinic in her area that's competent and willing to help her with the reversal of the mifepristone RU46.
And the hotline is 24/7. And most of the times she's taken that pill, and I've heard the stories, and she's driven home, and now she's having regret, and she's 2 o'clock in the morning, and she's going to Google, can this thing be reversed? And that's when they're going to have that conversation, have that chat at 2 o'clock in the morning. Pregnancy medical centers are getting phone calls as soon as they open up in the morning, and there's messages from them to say, we have a client, she needs to speak to you today. And we work with them, pregnancy medical centers, where they're doing ultrasounds, right? So we'll work with the doctor, we'll have them come in, do follow-up ultrasounds with them. The doc will prescribe the progesterone. And so it's a real community of love and truth and hope. As a way where we can say, so you're not out there all by yourself, or you had to, your pill came at the mailbox and you walked out to the mailbox and you're all alone and you feel forsaken. It's like, no, there's people here that want to love you, restore you, renew you, and repair you from this choice that could have been detrimental to you and your baby.
Well, in having you on the show, I always like to do a search on people, and I found one of your studies, and then I thought I found a couple of other studies, but they were people who oppose you, your work, medical community, other people. I mean, talk about being attacked, and that you got your facts wrong, and no real studies have been done on this. Speak to us about the extent of your studies that have gone into this.
Sure.
Because what I read is like, well, he's only done a study with 10 women who wanted this. They're not even asking for this. There's relief. They're okay with it. There's not even a percentage of women that's a number. You know, I know it's false.
Yeah. So first of all, it's always important to remember to center yourselves and know that Jesus promised that we would be persecuted if we did his work. So all that is fine as long as we're staying focused on what he wants us to do. But we've published 3 studies in peer-reviewed medical journals, and peer-reviewed medical journals are when you write a study and you have different independent people look at it to make sure that it's acceptable, and so those have all been approved. Yeah. The first one was a very small study with 6 women who had chosen to attempt reversal. 4 out of 6 of them were successful, and that's what got me started. I thought maybe this really is, I'm onto something. Yeah. And that's when I met Dr. Matthew Harrison, who had actually performed the very first reversal about 1.5 years before mine. We did ours independent of each other, but now we collaborate together. Yeah. Then our second study was by Dr. Mary Davenport, who looked at the old data when they first were studying mifepristone to see how effective it was before they added the second drug. Right. And so that study was important because it gave us what we call a historic control. That is, if you do nothing at all, if you just have hands off and a woman takes mifepristone RU46, right, what percentage of babies will survive? We found that up to 25%, and 25% is kind of a generous figure, but it's very defensible. So that's the figure we use now in comparison with our third study, where we followed over 250 women with successful reversals and saw what happened with them. And we compared that 68% with our best protocols, like I told you, success versus 25% if nothing else is done. The other things we found out is that the birth defect rate is no greater than the general population. So we're very happy with that. And in this study, the preterm birth rate was actually lower than the general population, probably because progesterone can help get that placenta healthier.
Well, and part of that is a lie that they tell them at the abortion clinics when they go to get the RU46. When the client, because we hear from our clients, they are being instructed, make sure now you take the second dose, otherwise your baby will have birth defects. So they plant that seed, which is a lie, because then they're like, okay, this is a journey of no return. I have to do this because my baby is going to have birth defects.
Yes.
More of the lie.
It is, and it's all of the abortion arguments are built on cards of lies. And you talked about other studies attacking us. Yeah. Well, there was a researcher, Dr. Mitchell Crennan, who's a very well-known abortion researcher, who published a study that its intent was to disprove abortion pill reversal. And in that study, he intended to enroll 40 patients, which was a suspect number in and of itself to have actual reliable scientific evidence. But then he stopped the study after 12 women were enrolled because 3 women were transported to the emergency room with bleeding. And so he claimed that abortion pill reversal was not safe and should not be done. But when you actually look at those 3 women, one of them was in the progesterone group, got progesterone, and when she got to the emergency room, the paper says right there, needed no further treatment. That means she didn't need to be in the emergency room. She just had a failed reversal and had bleeding like all women who take mifepristone do. The other 2, however, were in what's called the placebo group. They did not get progesterone. Both of them needed emergency suction surgical abortions, and one of them needed blood transfusion. So what his study really demonstrated was that abortion pill reversal is safe, not taking progesterone is unsafe. And then when you looked at the effectiveness numbers of those 12 women, 67% who had progesterone had pregnancies that were still ongoing at 2 weeks, while 33% who had the placebo had ongoing. So that showed again that the progesterone made a big difference, 67% versus 33% survival. So again, his study was actually supporting what we've been saying all along, is that abortion pill reversal is safe and it's effective. And the third thing we say is that women are very grateful when they're given that opportunity of a second chance at life.
Right.
We're going to hold you over for the final segment to learn more about abortion pill reversal, your network, what your hope is for that, and any way we can help out with it. So we'll be right back. You can go to stenoinstitute.org, or maybe somebody's surfing on the channels and you've actually taken this drug, RU486. Go to abortion pill reversal, abortionpillreversal.com. We'll be right back. Please don't go away. Welcome back. Sharing with Dr. George Delgado about abortion pill reversal. Doc, where do things stand right now with your institute? How could we support that? What do you see happening with it? Because I know there's a bunch of good news there, but just go ahead, share with us.
Yeah, so we're laser focused on increasing awareness so that everybody in America will know that abortion pill reversal is available, that they'll believe that it's safe and effective. And to do that, we need to convince regular people who are watching this show. We also need to convince medical professionals, and they want to see more studies. And so we're actively researching this more. We have 3 big projects going on right now. We have actually studies in rats by Dr. Stephen Samut at Franciscan University of Steubenville, which are very promising. So they give us kind of what we can do in the future with people. And then we have 2 human studies, one that's launching really this week, that's going to be looking at Heartbeat International's data, and another one that's going to be a randomized controlled trial, which is the highest level of scientific inquiry. For that one, we're going through some more planning, and we need more fundraising for that. So people can go to stenoinstitute.org to help support those great efforts so that we can raise awareness, education, and research around abortion pill reversal. As far as who we've helped so far, Heartbeat International, which is now running the abortion pill reversal network, has told me that over 4,000 babies have been documented to be born after successful abortion pill reversal.
4,000 that we know of.
4,000. We know there are many others than those. Those are just the ones we've been able to count. And the women have been helped in all 50 states and in more than 70 foreign countries. So this has been spreading. We helped start an Australian mifepristone reversal network. Dr. Alexei Folkin in Russia translated my website into Russian back when I was running the network and started his own thing there. Doctors in Lithuania are interested, doctors in Switzerland, and doctors in Ireland are getting on board. Dr. Dermot Kearney is also a big proponent in the United Kingdom and is spreading abortion pill reversal there.
Doc, thank you so much for your great work, for the whole network of true healthcare professionals that are giving another opportunity for the mothers to choose life and good health for themselves and for their child. God bless you. God bless your efforts, and may all the support that you need be multiplied. Thank you. And welcome to the EWTN family.
Thank you.
What a great work is going on, and the other side is saying this isn't really happening. 4,000 that we know of babies that are living, and they're going to get older and older, and it's going to multiply. And maybe the next time the other side says, well, abortion pill reversal really isn't working, they'll hear from tens of thousands of human beings that said, I'm in abortion pill reversal. It does work. So good news in the midst of this culture of death, especially during the season of Lent. Go to stenoinstitute.com. .org, thank you, stenoinstitute.org, and maybe make a contribution to that. This is a time for alms giving, and maybe the Lord would have you sow into saving a life, a person made in the image and likeness of God, and to save these women from the exploitation that the pro-abortion industry is placing upon them. God bless you. God bless all of your loved ones. Life, marriage, and the family will prevail. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.